in the league long enough that I was in college. You know what I'm saying? And still, he ain't catch Jordan. And still get him there.
Can't be in the same room with Brady or Mahomes because he only has one ring. Barry Bonds never won a World Series. So. You can't sit here and tell me that he's not the greatest baseball player to ever touch a bat.
In the endless debate of basketball greatness, few discussions hit as hard as when legends speak on legends. Recently, Stephen A. Smith took center stage once again, and this time he delivered a message that might shake the core of every LeBron fan out there. With the GOAT conversation continuing to dominate sports talk shows, podcasts, and barbershop banter, Stephen A. didn't mince words. He laid it out clearly. Michael Jordan is not just great, he is untouchable. In a comparison that stunned many, Stephen A. shredded LeBron's legacy by recalling Jordan's legendary feat of dropping 40 points at age 40. What followed was a barrage of facts, context, and basketball truth that reminded the world why Jordan remains at the top of the mountain. Throughout this video, we are going to break down 7 powerful statements from Stephen A. and others from that discussion, analyzing exactly what makes each point so devastating to LeBron's case as the greatest. These are not random opinions. They are grounded in real numbers, real moments, and real dominance that defined Jordan's era. We're diving deep into Jordan's scoring brilliance, his clutch decision-making, his refusal to take shortcuts, and his relentless dominance despite playing far fewer seasons than LeBron. And while LeBron's achievements are undeniably impressive, there's a growing consensus that greatness is not just about longevity or statistics. It's about the moments that define an era, and no one captured those moments like Michael Jordan. Before we jump in, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to NBA Showdown, and turn on notifications so you never miss another fire episode like this. Join the debate in the comments and let us know, has Stephen A. officially ended the LeBron vs. Jordan conversation, or is there still room to argue? Now let's get into it and break down why Stephen A. says LeBron's legacy will never measure up to Jordan's legendary standard. Stephen A. Smith opens the floodgates by recalling the time Michael Jordan scored 40 points at the age of 40, a feat unmatched in terms of legacy impact. What makes this moment so significant isn't just the number of points scored, but the age at which it was done. Scoring 40 at 40 reflects an elite level of discipline, conditioning, and sheer competitiveness that few athletes can even imagine maintaining so late in their careers. Stephen A. makes it clear that while LeBron James has had dozens of 40-point games, 78 to be exact over a 22-season span, there's something uniquely special about doing it at an age when most players have long since retired or faded from relevance. LeBron's numbers may impress on paper, but the timing and context behind Jordan's 40-piece show the kind of mystique and magic that stats alone cannot capture. The point here is not just the score, but what that moment symbolizes. Jordan's ability to rise to the occasion at any age cements a legacy that transcends time. LeBron's 40-point games may outnumber Jordan's in raw quantity, but they are spread across a much longer career, often in the regular season or in less pressure-filled circumstances. When Jordan did it at 40, it wasn't just a performance, it was a statement, a defiance of age, and a challenge to the very idea that he could ever be surpassed. This particular feat captured the essence of what separates Jordan from everyone else. His moments mattered more. They came with weight, with purpose, and with the kind of awe that shifted culture. Stephen A.'s message here is that we must look deeper than surface-level stats. Longevity is a strength, yes, but it can also blur greatness. True legends don't just exist, they dominate with purpose. Jordan didn't stick around just to collect stats, he showed up when it mattered. And even in his final years, he proved he was still capable of jaw-dropping brilliance. This alone sets a tone for the rest of the argument, that Jordan's greatness was more concentrated, more iconic, and far more impactful than any long-pay statistical accumulation.
Michael Jordan was the first 40-year-old to drop 40. That's number one. LeBron James is in his 22nd season. That was the 78th time in his career he has scored over 40.
Stephen A. then draws attention to a jaw-dropping fact that makes Jordan's scoring dominance even harder to deny. Despite playing 7 fewer seasons than LeBron, Jordan racked up 173 games with 40 or more points. This staggering stat alone begins to dismantle the idea that longevity equates to superiority. It exposes the reality that Jordan, in fewer opportunities, accomplished more in terms of high-scoring games, a measure of offensive greatness that few can match. This isn't just about who played longer. It's about who did more in less time. Stephen A. is making the argument that efficiency, dominance, and explosiveness matter more than simply showing up for more games across more seasons. LeBron's durability is certainly admirable, and his ability to maintain elite-level play for over 2 decades is historic in its own right. But when it comes to putting points on the board in jaw-dropping fashion, Jordan's track record is in a league of its own. The fact that he was consistently dropping 40 in an era defined by physical defense and hand-checking rules makes it even more impressive. Each of those 173 performances was a message to the league that no defense, no scheme, and no opponent could truly contain him. When he decided to take over, Stephen A. is not suggesting that LeBron is weak offensively, but rather that Jordan was unmatched when it came to elevating his scoring to that next level consistently. In moments that required greatness, Jordan delivered in ways that overwhelmed even the best defenses. That kind of dominance, particularly in fewer seasons, speaks to a player who not only had supreme talent, but an unmatched killer instinct. He didn't just score, he punished. The argument becomes even more compelling when you consider the pressure Jordan played under. His 40-point games often came in critical matchups, in games where the Bulls needed a savior. LeBron's may come more frequently, but the context is what separates the good from the great. In 7 fewer seasons, Jordan proved that when it comes to raw scoring power, no one could touch him. This is the legacy that Stephen A. is defending, one built not just on numbers, but on unforgettable moments of greatness.
How many 40-point games did Michael Jordan have? 173!
Stephen A. ramps up the intensity by comparing how Jordan and LeBron approached their careers in their formative years. He points out that Michael Jordan never spent his early years hesitant or unsure about his role in the league. From the moment Jordan stepped onto the court, he carried himself like a champion. There was no prolonged adjustment period, no chasing other stars to figure things out. Jordan knew exactly who he was, and he played like it. That confidence and certainty translated directly into results, and this is the contrast Stephen A. emphasizes. LeBron, by contrast, spent the first 8 years of his career trying to figure it out. Years filled with talent, but lacking in ultimate results. The reference to South Beach hits hard. Stephen A. implies that LeBron had to join forces with other superstars in Miami to finally learn how to win. That move, though successful, suggests that LeBron needed external guidance to develop his championship identity. Jordan, meanwhile, built his greatness from within. He took beatings from the Pistons, suffered through playoff heartbreaks, but used each setback as fuel. He did not look outward for shortcuts. He demanded more of himself and eventually of his teammates until they rose to his level. That's the kind of self-driven evolution that sets Jordan apart. Stephen A.'s critique here cuts deeper than just wins and losses. It's about the mentality. Jordan never had to find himself through alliances. He created his identity through sheer dominance and determination. The road he took was harder, and that makes his success even more meaningful. LeBron's path, while still incredible, is viewed as more curated, more strategic. Jordan's was raw, unfiltered, and ruthless. The kind of journey that forges legends, not just stars. This section is where Stephen A. draws the clearest line between greatness earned and greatness calculated. Jordan's refusal to chase greatness by joining others speaks volumes about his leadership and mindset. He was a builder of dynasties, not just a participant in them. His legacy is one of solitary conquest, not collective agreement. This is what makes Michael Jordan's path so special. He didn't just win. He transformed a franchise, inspired a generation, and did it all without needing to leave Chicago for someone else's blueprint.
Anything that Michael Jordan wanted to do, he didn't spend the first 8 years shivering. He didn't have to go to South Beach to learn how to win.
In the heat of the debate, Shannon Sharpe throws a curveball at Stephen A., questioning why Jordan didn't do certain things if he supposedly could have. This challenge isn't new. Critics have often tried to poke holes in Jordan's resume by suggesting that if he truly had limitless potential, he should have done even more. But Stephen A's reply doesn't flinch. Instead, he turns the question on its head. The point is not what Jordan didn't do, it's what he didn't need to do. He didn't need to chase certain milestones or force himself into contrived narratives. He let his game speak. When Shannon asked why Jordan didn't do some of the things LeBron has done, Stephen A's response suggests that Jordan never needed to pad his resume because he already achieved basketball perfection. The key here is the idea that Jordan didn't need to chase numbers or symbolic victories. He played with the mindset of finishing the job, not extending it to prove a point. Jordan didn't need to play 22 seasons because he had already won 6 titles, 5 MVPs, and a flawless finals record. He retired, came back, dominated again, and walked away on his own terms. This exchange highlights the philosophical difference between Jordan and LeBron. LeBron, in his pursuit of greatness, has had to evolve, adjust, and sometimes even pivot to stay relevant in the GOAT conversation. Jordan never had to do that. His dominance was so absolute that the conversation was already over by the time he left the game. The fact that LeBron is still chasing speaks volumes. It suggests that even with all the accolades, something is still missing. Stephen A is not trying to diminish LeBron's accomplishments. Instead, he is drawing attention to the completeness of Jordan's legacy. Jordan did not need 20+ years to prove he was the best. He did it in half that time and left no questions unanswered. Shannon's question may seem valid, but it actually underscores just how untouchable Jordan is. He didn't do everything because he didn't have to. He achieved what he set out to do and walked away as the undisputed king.
Every time LeBron does something, if Jordan wanted to, he would have done it.
I didn't say
if
that.
he's what you said he was, why didn't he do it?
Stephen A draws attention to the fact that this kind of skill-based game requires hours upon hours of disciplined training. Jordan wasn't born with an unmatched vertical leap alone. He built a toolkit that allowed him to dissect defenses and exploit any weakness. LeBron's gifts may be more physical, but Jordan's were mental and mechanical, giving him longevity through adaptability. That's why Jordan could still drop 40 when others his age were long retired or ineffective. What Stephen A wants us to understand is that true greatness is not about how high you can jump, it's about how well you can think, how consistent your execution is, and how you evolve when your body doesn't perform like it used to. Jordan's game was designed to last. It was built to conquer any era, any defender, and any rule change. In contrast, LeBron's dependency on his physical prowess makes his decline more noticeable. Stephen A's point is subtle but devastating. Jordan's game aged like fine wine because it was never just about power. It was about perfection in motion.
All I know is your man got 7 more years in the league and still chasing Jordan. 7 more years. He don't even have.
In a fiery moment, Stephen A. Smith calls out the younger generation of fans who place LeBron James over Michael Jordan without having actually witnessed Jordan's dominance. This generational divide, he argues, is at the root of so many flawed GOAT arguments. For Stephen A., the disrespect toward Jordan is a byproduct of ignorance. Many fans base their arguments on YouTube clips and highlight reels, not the day-to-day impact Jordan had on the league and the culture. Watching Jordan wasn't just watching basketball, it was watching a cultural movement. Stephen A. is emphatic that the people who lived through Jordan's era know exactly what made him special. His influence stretched beyond the court. His presence alone forced players, coaches, and franchises to elevate their standards. He was more than a scorer, he was an enforcer of excellence. LeBron fans, particularly younger ones, often miss this layer. They see the flashy dunks, the triple-doubles, and the social media influence, but they miss the intensity the fear and the respect Jordan commanded just by stepping onto the floor. This generation, Stephen A. implies, is more enamored with volume statistics than with dominance. But the game is not just about who plays longer or who racks up more points. It's about how you made your impact felt. Jordan altered the DNA of the NBA. He set the bar so high that every player who came after him, including Kobe and LeBron, measured themselves against him. That kind of legacy can't be built through endurance alone. It requires a consistent stretch of undeniable greatness that defines an era, and Jordan did exactly that. What Stephen A. is trying to do here is wake people up. It's not just defending Jordan, he's preserving the truth of basketball history. The younger fans who never saw Jordan in his prime are missing context. They're missing the emotional gravity of watching a man who made greatness look routine. For Stephen A., this debate isn't just about numbers, it's about memory, legacy, and reverence. And until fans acknowledge the difference between watching history unfold and reading about it after the fact, Jordan will never get the respect he rightfully deserves from the new school.
In the league long enough that I was in college. And still, he ain't catch Jordan.
Still get him there.
As the debate wraps up, Stephen A. delivers his final haymaker, one that frames Jordan's legacy as one of completion while portraying LeBron's as a never-ending pursuit. He points out that Jordan didn't need extra years, multiple team changes, or added chapters to establish his greatness. He wrote the perfect book: 6 championships, 6 finals MVPs, and a legacy untouched by finals losses. LeBron's career, though incredible, continues to be written because the conclusion still feels unsettled. That, according to Stephen A., speaks volumes. Jordan knew when to walk away. After completing his second three-peat, he retired at the peak of his powers. That kind of exit is rare in sports. It wasn't just graceful, it was definitive. LeBron, on the other hand, continues to chase greatness with each passing season. But Stephen A. questions, if you're truly the greatest, why do you still need to prove it? Jordan left no doubt. LeBron's continued quest, while admirable, highlights that the crown never fully sat on his head the way it did with MJ. The problem isn't LeBron's performance, it's the perception. Each new season feels like another chapter where LeBron tries to finally close the GOAT book. But with every playoff exit, with every failed super team experiment, the debate only intensifies. Jordan avoided that fate by sealing his legacy with perfect timing. He never let his game become a shadow of its former self. He ended things on his terms, and because of that, his legacy stands as an uncracked monument to perfection. Stephen A.'s point is about finality. Jordan's career had punctuation, an exclamation mark. LeBron's career, though still adding pages, feels like it's trying to find the right ending. That doesn't mean LeBron isn't great. It means he's still chasing something that Jordan already possesses: unquestioned legacy closure. For Stephen A., that's what separates the good from the greatest, and the greatest from the GOAT. Jordan didn't just dominate, he finished the story, closed the book, and walked away with the game forever changed in his image.
Can't be in the same room with Brady or Mahomes because he only has one ring. Barry Bonds never won a World Series, and you can't sit here and tell me that he's not the greatest baseball player to ever touch a bat.
So after all the facts, the numbers, and the passion, where does that leave us? According to Stephen A. Smith, the answer is crystal clear. Michael Jordan remains the undisputed GOAT, not just because of what he did, but because of how and when he did it. He dominated in fewer seasons, scored more meaningfully, and walked away with a legacy untouched by doubt. His 40-point game at age 40 was more than just a stat. It was a symbol, a reminder that greatness doesn't fade when it's built on something deeper than physical ability. LeBron James, as phenomenal as he is, finds himself chasing a ghost. Despite all his accolades, he still seeks that final stamp of approval, that moment when the world collectively agrees, yes, this is the greatest of all time, but that moment hasn't come. And Stephen A. is saying, maybe it never will, because what Jordan accomplished, how he carried himself, and how he exited the game remains a blueprint that no one has matched. LeBron's story is still being written, but Jordan's is carved in stone. This debate will rage on, fans will continue to argue across generations. But if we strip away the noise, the distractions, and the bias, one truth remains. Michael Jordan didn't just play the game, he defined it. And according to Stephen A. Smith, no stat, no season, and no argument will ever take that away. Jordan was feared, Jordan was perfect, and Jordan was, and still is, the standard by which all greatness is measured. If you enjoyed this breakdown, smash that like button, subscribe to NBA Showdown, and drop a comment below. Is Stephen A. right? Has LeBron's legacy already reached its peak, while Jordan's continues to soar even in retirement? Let us know. The GOAT debate isn't over, but the evidence just got a whole lot stronger